Hey everyone, welcome back to the range. My name is Matt, also known as the King of Armor Destruction and the Armor Wizard. Zap, zap. We have a body armor demo today. In full transparency, this level 4 was purchased from Defender Armor with funds from myself to destroy as I please with no strings attached. This is their level 4 offering. Now we've had this plate for almost a year now. We picked it up at the same time as a level 3 plus, and because it was a personal purchase, I've just kind of pushed off getting it done. And I came across it in the pile and figured since I only have the one plate, we should get this one knocked off right away. As mentioned, this level 4 plate is 1.01 inches thick. It is 25.73 millimeters for those across the pond. It weighs 5.53 pounds, or again, those across the pond, 2.508 kilograms. This is a ESAPI medium, I think, 9.5 by 12.5 inches. It is multi-curve. You can see all those nice, sexy curves there, and then there also is our label. Now, if this is the first time you're tuning into my channel, we do our body armor demos, reviews, infotainment, completely different than everyone else on YouTube. I am not an NIJ lab, but I do try to maintain some of the constants that I can control out here so you guys have solid data to take away from this test. Since this is rifle armor, we shoot at 45 feet. That is the official NIJ testing distance for rifle armor. We also shoot at 0 degrees because that represents worst case scenario. If there's anything you can take away from my channel, we're after worst case scenario. In any of the NIJ protocol testing for level 4, they're only going to shoot one round at that plate center of mass, and they're going to get another plate, and then another, and another. Since we only have the one, we're going to take as many shots on this plate as possible. We've proven in the past that ceramic plates are certainly multi-hit capable depending on the threat that you're shooting at them. Since this plate employs a ceramic strike face per the NIJ, we've gone ahead and dropped it on its face 2 times as a preconditioning test. Like the level 3 plus that we tested in the past, this does appear to have edge-to-edge ceramic covering, and what that means is for the entire 9.5 by 12 size of this plate, we have ceramic that extends all the way out to or as close to the edge as possible, and that ensures that you have ample coverage. Some companies, in order to sell you a lighter plate, will put a foam strip of 1 inch or more on each side of here, and then if you had a 9.5 by 12 plate, you could only have 8.5 or 8 by 11 or 10 of actual ceramic strike face. Now this is a plus and a minus because the NIJ won't shoot any closer than 2 inches or 3 inches from the edge. After we performed our drop test, we mark a DT indicating that it has been dropped, and then we also perform a torque test on all of our plate sets where we grab the opposing edges of our plate and we apply pressure to try to listen for any cracks. If we hear cracks, we mark it with a C and a check mark. If we don't, we mark it with a TQ. This does have drop face foam protectant on it, so we did not hear any cracks. We also use a chronograph whenever possible, a Pro Chronopal Digital DLX, because we need to know the velocity of that round. Again, for NIJ level 4, you have to stop one round of M2AP at 2880 feet per second, and you won't find that from surplus, let alone 22-inch or 24-inch 30-06 guns. We also use a giant clay briefcase filled with Roma Plastiline at #1, currently looking for sponsors. This acts as our compressible media to put the body armor up against, and it weighs like 80 pounds, so it prevents the body armor from potentially losing energy transfer. Again, we're after worst case scenario, so we're getting maximum energy transfer on that plate. Now, the clay has to be heated to around 100 degrees, and you drop a ball on it to certify it, and that's time that we don't have out here or the ability to control that temperature very well. So we're just going to see a representation of back face. If we stop M2AP going 2880 feet per second and the back face is something like 60 millimeters in my clay, which is about 80 degrees, in actual NIJ testing, that could be bad because that could be well over the allowed limit of 44 millimeters. And finally, we put a spreadsheet here at the beginning that we kind of foreshadow all the threats that we're going to shoot at it. We mark our velocities and our penetrations, and at the end, we do a tear down to confirm any of the manufacturer's claims, especially when it comes to mentioning edge-to-edge protection. I do want to remind everyone that I am not an NIJ lab, so if you see a threat stopped or penetrated over here, you should always defer to the manufacturer to produce accredited NIJ lab test results showing that those threats are able to be stopped. And on the flip side, if you're the manufacturer and you see me stop M993 going 2,500 feet per second over here, you should send your plate off to an accredited lab and have that added as a special threat to your panel. This is our 163 grain full metal jacket armor piercing M2AP. As I mentioned, The spec calls for 2880 feet per second, and you won't see that out of a 1903 or an M1 Grand with surplus ammunition. You may get it out of a 26-inch barrel, but you're going to probably have to load it yourself, so that's why we have it loaded in 300 Win Mag. Although with the temperature today, we've been 30 to 40 feet per second over the max allowed spec. This is a 24-inch TC compass with a Yankee Hill Phantom M2 up front. Yeah, we were way over spec there. That time was only 8 feet per second over the allowed spec. Easy enough to see from this. Shot number 1 and shot number 2. I smoked 2 of my straps. A big thank you to my Patreon supporters, as always, for helping with some of this stuff. Place some bets in the comments below. Hey! No pass-through. Now, look at the dimple in both of those shots, though. I did beat the clay nice and flat before we got here, 44 millimeters, and this guy down here, 53 millimeters. This may change what we're after for some follow-up shots. You know, in all honesty, to be a little fair to the plate, maybe we shoot more 5.56 at this, what's left. But it stopped both those rounds, and it is on the thinner and lighter side of a level 4. I'm gonna guess it's silicon carbide base. Looks like we have a laminating layer there. We will tear this down when we're done. Looks like they are using some foam on the backer, and we've already, ooh, that's not good. We already separated our backer from the strike face. So we're gonna have to stay away from this whole area right there. That's not good for me, guys. We're gonna have to be careful on how many more shots we can put on this plate safely. Again, in the NIJ's eyes when testing these, they would have already moved on to a fresh plate for any different rounds. So I've got 2 .30 caliber threats that we've tested in the past. These are the Southern Ballistic Research, or SBR 7.62 by 5.4 R rounds that we've resized to 308. We've got the brass solid with the AP Sabo in the tip. Very hard little guy. Then we've got the Spotter AP. It has a little penetrating core inside of it. We penetrated a level 4 aluminum plate with it a little while ago. We have a 24-inch Savage Access 110 Tactical through the Yankee Hill Phantom M2 up front. We'll take the API shot first. Good velocity. Good velocity off that too. Let's finish off this plate with 5.56 threats because it's degraded pretty quickly. We've separated our backer from our ceramic strike face, and at that point it's not really fair to the armor to keep hitting it. So we've got M193, that is our 55 grain full metal jacket round known for popping steel, but polyethylene stops it. Then we've got M855 or SS109. That's 62 grains lead core with a conical steel penetrator known for popping polyethylene armor, but steel stopping it. Then we've got M855A1. This is the U.S. Army's current issue ball round. Copper core, hardened arrowhead steel tip right around 60 on the C scale. Known for popping all kinds of armor. We've got the 22-inch TC Compass Armor Slayer out right here. Got an Oryx chassis. We'll take the A1 shots last, the M855 second, then the M193s first. Good velocity, right? Yeah. Okay. Now the M855. And then we're going to do an edge shot. Now Now the A1. Smoked another strap. Our M193 shot, number 1 was right up there. That is not a fair hit in the NIJ's eyes. I just marked it though because it was 12 inches. Shot number 2 was there. M855 was shot number 1, and number 2, another edge shot. The A1s, number 1, 2, 3, and 4. I wanted to stay away from this area because that seemed to be the most bunched up and separated from the M2AP shot. There was the hit from the 2 SBR loads. Place those bets in the comments below. Uh-oh, Raggy. We have a little bit of carnage going on here, but from what I can tell, we'll peel all this away. This is sometimes the downside to this. There are no penetrations from the 5.56 shots, except for that unfair hit up here, and then this unfair hit right here. We'll double check, but our SBR shots were stopped. Interesting. Fairly impressive. The back face though is getting to be a little out there, and it looks like they're using ultra high molecular weight polyethylene in this level 4 versus the R.A.N.G.E that I said was used in the 3+. You can tell the back face from the 5.56 threats is getting in there. The clay is warm and it's dirty. I just bought this clay. That's not a good thing, but for science, you know. All right, now for a fan favorite, the teardown, paging Dr. Matt to surgery. This was a messy surgery. I cut myself with a piece of ceramic because I forgot my gloves. Luckily, I keep lots of Band-Aids in there. Hopefully, I don't have a ceramic splinter in there. Anyways, here is our back of our Defender level 4. We have our blunt force trauma foam. I measured that right around 200 thousandths thick. It seems to do pretty well with 1 or 2 shots, but when you start placing a lot of shots on the plate, the foam tends to degrade. We have a lower density foam on the outermost edge as a protectant. That is a good thing. This is not the foam ring that I'm typically talking about when we're talking about edge-to-edge protection. This is on the outermost edge of the plate. I thought we were using aramid fiber in this plate, but we're using polyethylene. I measured it right around 360 thousandths thick. I confirmed there were no penetrations besides that unfair hit of M193, which essentially went upwards. Now that little cool SBR API shot got quite a ways in there. That's that little tiny tip. Let's see if I can zoom in on it right there. Little tiny tip there. Almost got through, but this is the rearmost part of the polyethylene, and it did not penetrate. It just kind of bulged it out a little bit. So there were no penetrations besides that shot of M193, which was not a fair hit. This does appear to be pressed. You can see that it is one solid layer, although it has lost a lot of its rigidity, and you can kind of thumb through it. So I wonder if it's more autoclaved versus pressed, but without Defender telling me, cannot give you a definitive answer. Our strike face could be silicon carbide or could be boron. Hard to say. What I like is that it is laminated. So we've got this fiberglass-like layer with a lot of resin on it that's essentially sandwiching the ceramic in between those layers, kind of like laminated auto glass. And so if you take a shot over here, all the ceramic that could break away tends to not break away. I mean, we have solid ceramic throughout the plate. I measured the ceramic right around 330 thousandths thick, and as you can see, it extends edge to edge. This is our drop face foam protectant, very much identical to the level 3 plus plate that we tested a little while ago. It's like a lower density foam. You can see that it has some air gaps there. I measured that right around 76 thousandths. Our laminating layer is on the front. I couldn't get a solid piece of the ceramic off because that's how I cut myself, but there it is. And here is our front cover. Cover wasn't too hard to get off. I would say better that cover a little bit and work on laminate or better adhering our ceramic strike face to our polyethylene backer, but not too shabby. Probably wouldn't handle M993, but for a lighter weight plate of the thinner persuasion, I'd rock it. Well, folks, that's another one for the Armor Destruction book. If I had to say so myself, I think our Defender Level 4 plate did very well given its overall thickness and weight being on the lighter side of some of our Level 4 plates. I do like that we have edge-to-edge protection for our strike face as well as it being laminated. I think the biggest detraction from this design is the adhesion between our polyethylene backer and our laminated strike face seemed to give up the ghost on that second shot of M2AP. Again, NIJ standards are minimums and level 4 is only one shot center of mass, so that delamination wouldn't be a concern for that single hit. It is pretty interesting that the SBR API load almost made it through with its little penetrator. Our 5.56 shots were contained without a problem even after this plate was well beyond compromise. With all that being said, it's time for me to get the heck out of here, but at the end of all my videos, I take a moment to thank all those who help make these possible because there's a lot that goes into them. Number one is my Patreon and Subscribe Star fans. Those funds, which is not a lot, help me procure both the level 3 and 4 plate from Defender so you guys have some solid data on these plates. I have a link tree in the description below, various different ways to contact me or support me. You know, I have some affiliate links or discount codes through various vendors like, you know, My Medic from when I cut myself on ceramic, or say the Gators Eyewear, or even if PSA for ammunition, I have those down there. So if you're looking to help support the channel, that is greatly appreciated. Number two is Defender Armor, who in full transparency sold me those plates at a slight discount so that I could provide you guys with some data. And of course, number three is you all for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you at the range.